What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, as always, presented by our friends at Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. There is no better way to stay up to date with Pure Options than through their Pure Perks loyalty program. Great way to know what's going on with promotions, events, merchandise tailored to you. Comes right into my inbox every day. I know when they've got a deal going on I want to take advantage of. And, of course, also at pureoptions.com, you can find the location nearest you. Chances are, if you live in Michigan, you're not that far away. 3 in the Lansing area alone: Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Detroit. Jason, how are you, brother? I mean, I felt all of Fred Human. Huge Gay Sunday.
Hey, buddy. Did you have any Pure Options over the weekend?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Might have had an edible here and there.
Yeah. Good. How'd that turn out? Solid
okay.
weekend. What'd I do? Oops.
I don't know. You're hitting buttons over there.
I got it. We're good.
Okay.
A lot going on over here.
No.
Anyway.
It was good. Did the in-laws on Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Did you get to watch the Copa? Is that it? Copa final?
I did. That was at night.
Oh.
And that got delayed because of crowd control issues getting into the stadium. But it was the Euro final between Spain and England I was worried about. Saw the first 30 minutes and the last 20. Naturally, the meal that I was concerned about fell right in the middle of the Euros final. But
so you had it all planned out.
There was nothing to be done about that.
So fans were like breaking into the stadium in Miami, right? Like they were like crawling through the walls and shit. I mean, like for soccer?
Going through the vent.
Good Lord.
Well, so here's the thing people don't understand, like you. No offense to you. But we don't have anything like this in this country. We don't have anything that people are that passionate about. Well, we do have things, but not sports. Not sports. Maybe
free food.
Maybe college sports. Maybe aspects of college sports.
To break in through the vent system. I don't know.
I'm telling you right now, you know, people say, well, Alabama football. Well, Alabama football, you know what the students don't do on a Saturday where it's not a fun game, where it's at noon? They don't show up. The SEC doesn't even have this in football.
I have a 70-inch screen TV at my house. Why would I go crawl through a vent?
I'm just saying, the passion that you see with – and they don't even have it in Europe, frankly, with soccer. Like if you watch the Euros and then you watch the Copa America, which is really the South American Championship. We got invited this year. And you watch Uruguay and you watch Colombia and Argentina and Brazil and you watch those fans.
Gay Sunday.
How much they care about it. It's unlike anything we have. And you have to be aware, if you're going to be in this country and you're going to do security. Now, this wasn't like the same folks who are going to do the World Cup who are doing security. You know, it was.
Is this your first take, by the way?
Sort of, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Just want to know where we're at. Okay,
yeah, and it was the people who run Copa America, and they screwed it up royally. Like when the plans for the World Cup will have the perimeter for where you take tickets further away from the stadium. For those who don't know what happened, basically in 95-degree sweltering heat in Miami, number one, we should not host national events south of like Kentucky in the summer. Right. I mean, it's what are we doing? It's like
we shouldn't be outside.
We complain about like Qatar when there's a World Cup there. We've got just as many uninhabitable cities, and Miami in the summer is one of them. It's shit. Nobody wants to be there. But beyond that, you've got people are hot. They're waiting all day outside. A lot of people showed up without tickets. A lot of people had paid $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 for tickets.
What?
And so now what you have is you have this crush of people coming towards the gates that was creating a dangerous situation with children and all sorts. I mean, there are a lot of people with kids just bailed and said, we're not doing this. A lot of people with tickets couldn't get in for a long time until they eventually let everybody in to alleviate the crush. So you had like 10,000 extra people in the stadium that could fit. People weren't in their right seats. It was just, but they didn't have as much security as they would have for a normal Dolphins game. I mean, that's how dumb this situation is. People in this country have to realize international soccer, especially when you're talking about South American international soccer, the type of security and situation you have to prepare for is different than anything you're used to. And
well, maybe they figured it's a boring sport, so people like fans would be easier to control. You don't have to have double the staff of a normal football game.
That probably is.
There's more excitement in an NFL game to where you're like, soccer, you're like, nothing happens for about an hour, so you can sit there and relax. And
I think the people who actually thought this through had those thoughts. Now the people who run it, I don't know, it was bad, and it was embarrassing, and luckily that's not a reflection on the people who are putting on the World Cup. But I what I don't understand, and I it's like this in a lot of different things. What I hate is when people who are supposed to be experts in putting on an event or doing anything in life are dumber than the common person. And this was a situation where I think anybody who sat down and had seen what happened in Wembley in 2021 or knew the type of fan bases that were going to be there, Colombia, Argentina, facing each other for a Copa final, if you saw Messi crying when he got hurt because that might be his last opportunity, like the passion that goes into this, what people are willing to do to be there and get in the stadium, you have to be aware of that. And how you are not, and how, I mean, it's just, it comes across as third world bullshit. Like you're just not smart enough to know how to do this right. And that's too bad. Because that's,
But you think the math of it all would just be like there's going to be a sold out crowd coupled with heat, right?
And
you should, if you overlook the aspect of people climbing through vents because then there's no way someone would do that for soccer. I get that, but you have to just have a full staff on, right, for a normal event.
People are at fault. People need to behave. Like there are kids getting crushed in this line. I mean, there are people like if you can't,
people are ass.
Yeah, people are ass. We know
it's impossible.
We know that. But for example, I don't think there was any really serious injuries that came out of this. We kind of got lucky. I think they were smart to just eventually say everybody's coming in. We can't check if they have weapons or whatever, but they've got to come in because the crush at the gate somebody's going to die. But if people had been seriously hurt or children had died trying to get in, I would have taken everybody who didn't have a ticket and tried to get in and put them responsible for it. Like, what were you doing there? You don't have a ticket. Do you understand how tickets work? We also have a ticket broker problem. The fact that these prices were so high is why it becomes something that keeps a lot of people away.
Do we boycott going to things like concerts? We're guilty of it too. Concerts the prices are insane. But what do we do? Just not go to concerts?
Eliminate brokers.
Well, yeah, sure.
That
will never happen, right? There's too much money wrapped into it.
Yeah, I would. Well, you see it at places like Michigan State where in college sports, you see people try to control brokers like in Michigan State, they canceled a lot of people's season tickets who weren't going to game who were just reselling them. And you do see that. So, over time, you can do that. You can control some of that stuff. And I think that's something you have to look at as ticket prices become ridiculous. A lot of people are at fault for this. And I don't
soccer fans.
People
that like soccer.
People are morons for doing this. The people running it were idiots. There are a lot of people at fault.
But why does it seem like soccer events are where the idiots gather to run things? Because kind of like World Cup and all that kind of shit.
Because it's where the passion is.
Okay.
That's where it is.
Okay.
It's where the passion is. We just don't.
Rich people get to make decisions.
We just don't have that kind of. Passion. That'll sort of be my first hot take. What is yours?
Buenos tardes.
I never thought I was going to play this again.
Tigers gambling update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
According to Brian Calloway, you're Brian Calloway, apparently the Tigers are back, right? What a way to go into the All-Star break by taking a series against the Reds, Guardians, and Dodgers, says Brian Calloway. I'm like, are we back? I missed the game Friday, right? Are we gambling back on the Tigers again? Are we starting to believe? Or are we going to start getting fooled again, right? I don't know. But what annoyed me the most is after the Tigers won, what was it, the 13th, whatever day that was, the Tigers tweeted out, crazy bread for a crazy win. Tigers win, you win. Free crazy bread. My thought immediately was, how about a free month of Bally's, the Bally's app? As much as we despise it, whatever, but you're starting to win. I don't understand why this is still, this is like Connor Stallions. I don't know why we can't get an answer, why we can't get fans, the Detroit Tigers, instead of crazy bread.
That's a fair thought.
Right? What are we doing here? So are we back in now? Or I'm not, I don't want to dive back in. If this team doesn't want to the organization doesn't want the fans to watch them. We're not even having a discussion about it.
Well, a couple of things. One, they're still not bettable, so they're not. You can't bet them.
We're not there yet.
You can't count on them, but they are at least becoming fun.
Is that fun though?
Well, I mean,
it's
bettable is best.
But already we don't know what to do, so it's not technically fun.
It's.
I'm confused on what to do.
But at least they're entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
But look, there's a lot of there are going to be lots of years where they're not bettable and they're good. Lots of good teams aren't bettable because their lines aren't right, because they're too good in lots of ways. The problem the Tigers had before wasn't to me that they weren't bettable. Bettable was like the consolation prize when they were awful. It was like, you know what, they suck, but at least we can make money off them.
Right.
And if they're great,
but that sucked too. Though.
At least you can make right.
But you knew the season there was no shot at anything, so you kind of didn't care. But yeah.
So I don't mind not being able to bet on the Tigers. I do have a season wins bet that's a little bit back in play. It's 79.5. They're 47-50.
But see, this is where this team, we said it's the hateable team because we can't figure them out. So they're going to give us hope before the All-Star break, come back, let us down, all this shit. I don't know.
I'd rather have hope than not.
True. I mean, if you're going to put it that way, yes, absolutely. But I'm saying I just don't know why the organization, I think like every waking, like what are they doing like right now? What did they do this morning? What did you guys talk about? Did you have a meeting? Did you talk about possibly the fans ever watching this game again?
Well, they sold out the park this weekend.
Well, yeah, because Shohei Ohtani, the guy hit a home run and 8 Japanese reporters are waiting for the guy that caught the ball. I hope Chris Ilitch was watching that. Put in an offer for Shohei Ohtani, even though they're going to reject you. $800 million. Look at that. The guy that catches the home run gets interviewed by 6 reporters. You would get your money back. Chris Ilitch's ass. I'm so sick of this whole thing. I'm sick of them. I'm serious. Like, what was the Zoom call this morning? I'm sure. Where was Chris Ilitch? In L.A. or something? Did they even talk about it? Do you talk about it at all during the day?
Toes in the water on the beach.
That's cool, but can we get him in front of a laptop or iPad or whatever he uses and just say, hey, Chris, what do you want to do? The fans still can't watch, a majority of them.
No, it's awful.
And there's this Rube guy on a podcast. I mean, should we have him killed? I mean, we can have him. I would take a bullet, I swear to God.
Might not be the week. I would take might not be the week for those jokes.
Oh, it's not a joke. I was being serious. Why, did something happen? No, I was being serious. If that, I would do it.
I did put out a tweet that fired up some people on Sunday, naturally.
The Twitter king.
I didn't,
Why, though? You know what? Like, I don't.
Why did I put out the tweet?
Well, that's obvious. But I'm saying, why do people get mad at you? I mean, they pretty much know who you are. I didn't read the tweet. I pretty much knew what was going on with it, but I don't know what the article said. I don't care. I don't care about your political beliefs. I don't care about people on Twitter's political beliefs. It's really easy. I just don't know why more people don't do it.
Yeah, no.
I'm not saying I don't care about what's going on in America. I don't care about your opinion. I don't care about another person's opinion. I just like what you do. I like talking Michigan State, like basketball with you and certain things. Politically, I just don't. Who cares?
And that's what we're going to be on this show. We're
well, I don't mind talking about it.
We're going all politics all the time. No, I'm kidding.
Conservative radio.
This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And
it's just ass, man.
No, we're going to keep it.
But you can have your point of view without getting some sort of hatred. And I mean, you are a hateable guy, so when you couple those two together, it's pretty easy to get a little amped up about you. But I mean, come on.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this. This is a sports podcast distraction for the most part, but we do delve into life, and we give you a free platform if you do want to say something here and there.
But I'm pretty sure people know your political viewpoint, right?
They do.
It's not like it's some shocking thing that they listen to this podcast.
Yeah, they know how I feel about the former president, sure. And I don't know if they know all my political beliefs, but nor do I care.
Well, you know what I mean.
And I also know when I put something out on Twitter that Twitter is not the place. It just isn't very much for civil discourse. It really isn't. And that
reading the comments is the best.
Because I am always open to hearing another view. I just haven't heard a reasonable explanation for not just. There are lots of Republicans who are friends. I'm going to say this right now before we get into. We have a couple people get into this a little bit, and we're going to get in MSU hoops right after this. I have lots of friends and family who disagree with me or vote differently than me.
Yeah,
and I love conversations about them. I love them, and I love conversations about them about all things, including politics. And I love just having reasonable conversations. You just get a lot of people on Twitter who just jump back and say, "Well, you're a turd." And my whole thing is I just haven't heard, like, my favorite thing to ask is,
that was a kind one.
Why do you feel this way? And I just haven't, or what and I haven't heard a reasonable explanation that's truthful for the man who took a bullet off his ear. And that's all it is. And you know what, though? It doesn't mean if you disagree with me, I like you any less as a person. Doesn't mean I want you any less a part of the show. Doesn't mean I don't want to interact with you in every way, including that way. I'm good. It's not like I think one thing I think is very true that people have talked about this week is tampering down the venom and the anger as much as we can is great. And to whatever extent I've been a part of elevating that in people, I apologize, but
Cole says, liberal hack.
Oh, yeah. Should we read them all? No. No. There's some. Turd was my favorite.
Turd, yeah. It's funny when they don't want to swear, but they also want to tell you to kill yourself. It's fun.
Well, yeah, my favorite are when people, because some people are right. Like, some people are like, you're a weird dude, and that's true.
Like this guy, you're the best, most nuanced, and clearest piece of actual trash, along with your article and the author. It's good analysis. Cheers. See, I mean, that's okay, right? Like, someone could fire that off, and who cares?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know.
It is not.
It's never moved me to a point. I'm really shocked either way that someone would be to change their lives in such a matter for some political figure. It was wild to me. But if you want to do it,
if I want to get off Twitter, though, this election will do it for me.
Oh God,
because
I'm surprised you're still on here.
What I mean is, like, right, the reason I'm still on Twitter is partly we use it for this show,
right?
And I use it for MSU sports, and for sports it still has a place. In politics it has a place too, but sports still has a place.
And my favorite of Saturday.
We're dropping MFers now?
James Edwards live tweeting a Pistons Summer League game when all of that is going on, when Twitter's on fire. It was my favorite part of all of it. It was just finding people that are just tweeting about random shit.
It was perfect in that sense. But no, like I've already lost 100 followers, and I could lose, if I really wanted to, I could lose a good 20,000 by the election, and then there wouldn't be any point in being on Twitter. I could just
get off. You have? What? I need to check mine. 20. You could lose 20,000 and still have some? I would have negative 19,000. Is that what you're going for, though? You're just trying to get everybody to
then I can leave Twitter. Then I can leave Twitter.
I mean, I can if you want. I'll do it right now.
No,
I'll unfollow you.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, let's get back to sports.
Oh, I had a great bet yesterday in Wimbledon. I sent it to you because I was proud.
I don't
have many of these, but every once in a while I did want to bet on Wimbledon. I wanted to bet because I love watching Carlos Alcaraz. I know everybody's a Joker guy, the Nadal and all those different guys, but Alcaraz, 21 years old. I've watched this kid for a little bit. I have a little bit of money in his sports cards, a little investment in him. So definitely like watching, even when I don't have money on Alcaraz. But before the match, it just felt Djokovic, he was plus 130. The numbers seemed weird. So I'm like, all right, I'm going heavy on Alcaraz, right? Because this is like they said, the changing of the tide. This is it. Like, Joker's 37 years old, right? I mean, this is 21. The shots that Alcaraz was hitting on Sunday were just, it was unreal. And to watch him in the changing of the guard. Anyway, this whole point is just to say I had a great gambling day on Wimbledon. I'll probably blow it on baseball at some point when they come back, but it was just a great Wimbledon. I love watching tennis.
When the money line on Alcaraz was a good play, jumping at the beginning. What was like?
It was a minus 130, and I'm like, there's no way you can't wait in match. If something happens, they're gonna push those lines
big
crazy. And then he won the first two sets, and it's just like a breeze, right? Like as a gambler, you're like, it's in the bank,
and it's a
great feeling.
He was. Yeah, it was marvelous to watch.
It doesn't happen very often where the money's in the bank when you bet. But
he's got every shot. He's got every tool. He's so instinctual.
And Joker, you could see he was like, some of the shots, he's like, I can't, what am I going to do? How I hit that?
Yeah, and he's not moving as well as he usually does and everything. But Alcaraz, it was maybe the best match. Those first two sets. And what was also amazing is you see how the pressure of a match can get to somebody even like Alcaraz. Because he gets up 40 love serving for the match.
Yep.
Double
fault.
And double fault and blows it and then gives back the game. And then has to win it in a tiebreak. So even him in that moment, it becomes a lot. And
the whole Wimbledon thing is wild. Like when before they enter the arena, they're just standing there in like this crazy Taj Mahal looking play. Like it's so super quiet, and I just don't know how those guys play in front of that many people. It's wild.
Yeah, no, it's
but Alcaraz is a must watch, right?
100%.
Like,
He's entertaining, and that's what's beautiful for the game is. And yes, I would like to have more Americans playing. I'd love to go back to the days of having an Agassi or somebody that we really.
That would be awesome.
But right now, at least the guy who's the best in the world, and Sinner's really good. He's got a rival who's a peer, so to speak. But the best in the world is 21 years old.
What about Typho? Is he?
No,
No,
not gonna happen.
I know.
Not gonna happen.
Desperately want an American.
It's not gonna happen. All right, to my second hot take, or wherever we are in these takes of sorts. I'll give you an MSU basketball one I've been thinking about, because it's very hard to predict exactly what this team will be because there's so much that's just unknown. So many guys who have to prove it, and so many guys are going to be in different roles. And but I do think this is going to be a likable team for a lot of people because I think they have fewer frustrating players, like fewer naturally frustrating guys. You know what I mean by that? Like A.J. Hoggard was an insanely frustrating player for people.
Don't coach my team.
Yes.
Madi Sissoko, because
he was terrible.
Yeah, couldn't
and he
catch
couldn't
the
say
ball.
anything.
When it wasn't just that he wasn't that good, it was how he wasn't that good. You know what I mean? You can't catch the ball. You don't know where. But
Izzo should take some of the blame for Madi's.
Yes, I'm not saying he's not, but there are ways to be no better than Madi and be less frustrating to watch.
Valid.
And so you had frustrating types players. Malik Hall, as good as he was, could be a frustrating player to watch because he would, when he tried to handle the ball in traffic, he'd spin and turn it over, or he had kind of an ugly looking shot. And so a guy who was your second or third best player could be a frustrating watch. So it was a team that was built around guys who were frustrating. This year's team, I just think, has less of those, at least that we know. They may become that in time.
As of right now.
And more guys who are early in their careers who people still have real hope for. Like, it's possible that Xavier Booker becomes somebody who's frustrating because there's some element of him, be it his motor, be it the way he rebounds, something that becomes frustrating to people. But he's a big man who can hit threes, who's going to who's going to look smooth at times, who I think is not a naturally frustrating looking guy. Frankie Fiddler, I don't think is going to be a frustrating player. His style of play, he may have a ceiling, but he's not a frustrating style player. Jaden Akins, we'll see. That could be a guy who is, if in his role he's not hitting shots consistently enough, that could be a guy who becomes frustrating for people. Jeremy Fears, Trey Holloman, and people love Trey Holloman, right? I mean, even Matt C., who listens to our podcast all the time, like, I love Trey Holloman. Even the most cynical people in the world love
Hey, there's some in
Trey
there
Holloman.
for Matt C. He's got a couple.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Jeremy Fears coming. I mean, I think it's just a less frustrating team, and somehow it goes back to the line. He's got a stupid looking face, right? It's having an unsympathetic face is the idea, or an unsympathetic game, whatever it is.
Stupid looking face.
That stuff matters in terms of how a team makes you feel when you watch it, even when they struggle. I think this team will have less of that. I think it'll make for a better experience. And that's the one thing I'm getting from just watching these guys. And, I have a column on Cohen Carr coming out tonight in the LSJ. Yeah.
Can I preview it? Send it to me.
I'll send you the raw copy.
This team was frustrating as a whole, though, because last year when they would play well, they were unbelievable and fun to watch. And we knew they just could never put it all together for at least 35 minutes of a game.
Well, and
they could do it for maybe, a half or more, a little bit, but
even
that's why they were frustrated. And AJ was the whole epicenter of the frustration. It wasn't Madi. We knew we weren't expecting double doubles from Madi. We were expecting AJ to lead that team last year, and he didn't do it.
But AJ's demeanor sort of led to some of that frustration in certain ways. Like when
body language.
Like I was talking to Cohen Carr for this piece, and he is very self-aware of. First of all, he still loves entertaining fans. He loves that idea. And one of the things he said to me is, I understand that a lot of these people can't afford to go to games, or this may be their only chance to see me. And so he takes the dunk shows and the way he plays at Moneyball seriously because he thinks this is the only chance some people get. But he also
how can you not like this kid?
Yeah, right.
Come on, man.
He also understands for him to have the type of season that MSU needs him to have and the career he wants to have, that it's going to be about his shot. It's going to be about his ability to drive to the basket and get people to respect him on the drive and all that sort of stuff. So he's very self-aware, and he talked about losing a little confidence last year. And I think two things happened last year for Cohen Carr. One was, he was he didn't come in as with the most hype of his class, but the summer he had and the fun he created with all the sort of high wire act then created a buzz and a fervor for him that was pretty high. But it's in the half court, he just wasn't ready to do a lot of things, and the lineup that was played around him didn't help him either. Like if he had a Joey Hauser in the lineup with him, or if he had maybe Frankie Fiddler this year, or maybe who they hope Xavier Booker is this year, guys who help with spacing, it might have helped him. Instead, he was the guy that he just contributed to sort of clogging things up, and didn't have any answers in the half court, and it made it worse. So the lineup didn't help him either. But anyway, he's a guy who has a game that's incomplete. My point here with him is I don't think he's a frustrating guy, though, yet. Now, he could become a frustrating guy, and anybody can become a frustrating guy. There are people listening to this podcast that 30 minutes ago were like, I kind of like Graham and Jason. And now they're like, Graham, he's a frustrating prick. Like, I don't want to listen anymore. And they're only listening because Pure Options is there for them, and they've taken an edible and maybe a second edible, and it's starting to kick in. They're like, I can get through this. And we appreciate Pure Options for that. But nonetheless, I just think this is going to be a team people are going to enjoy. Again, a little bit lower floor, higher ceiling, necessary turnover. But there are years where you just kind of sense that. Personality-wise, and I think that's there for people.
And that's your July Graham's basketball take.
Absolutely. What's your third hot take?
By the way, I just have the bake take, but I actually told my bake take. Now, I just want to let you know the Chris Ilitch thing was a bake take way before the things transpired on Saturday, because I have like a little folder in my email where if I have an idea or a bake take, I put it in. I almost said fired it in there. I put it into there for an idea for later for one of the takes. So I did. I didn't mean to say it. I had an idea that if Chris Ilitch did listen to somehow catch wind of our podcast and me calling him Mr. Ass, had me taken out, we'll say, would I do it in order to get then Ilitch, then a scandal? Because we've always talked about a scandal of getting Ilitch out of there. That would be a scandal if he took me out because he just had enough of me, thought he could get away with it. Now, on my end, would I do it? I think I would. I'd have to be talked into it. Can I watch this Lions season first and then do it? That these were my bake take thoughts.
Thank you, Pure Options.
Yeah. So I wanted to explain because you were kind of like, "Whoa, bad timing." I actually had that thought early, like late Friday.
prior to what happened over the weekend. Okay, I'll give you my final take, and this is a little bit of a bake take, but it was a frustrated pet peeve take. Exit signs where the gas station or restaurant is more than a mile off the exit. Okay?
God damn, this is your best take in weeks. You get a gift card, Graham.
So we're driving to Muskegon to my in-laws on Saturday, and we needed to get some gas early on. And because we have a hybrid, but what hybrids don't actually do, provide more than 25 miles of electric capabilities. So we needed to get some gas. Love the hybrid, but don't really understand it yet. And
you got to plug it in.
We do that. Okay. We're gonna get off Kreitz Road in Lansing. People know that exit. Mm-hmm. And there was a sign there that said Kroger. And we go to Kroger for gas a lot because we shop there and we get like $1 off a gallon because of all the points and stuff. We shop there. So my wife, Elizabeth, sees the sign for Kroger and goes, "Oh, there's a Kroger at this exit." She has no concept of geography. And there's a Kroger at this exit. We'll stop there. We get money off. I'm like, Elizabeth, that's the Kroger we usually go to on West Saginaw, which is a long way from the Kreitz exit. It's like 3 miles up Kreitz Road. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what? Why is that? Again, why is the exit? We stopped at the gas station. It was fine. Point being, I have no problem with the sign that says there's a Kroger, because that's probably the exit if you want to find Kroger. But there should be different colored signs for, hey, this is the exit you take if you want to get to this place, and this is a place that's right off this exit. Those are two very different things. Anything over half a mile, maybe a mile, but probably half a mile.
Yeah. Miles the cap.
Yeah, maybe it's a miles the cap. Should not be on the regular blue exit sign. Maybe have or a green, whatever color. Maybe make it yellow if it's a long way away.
But I thought you were going to talk about like up north, not Kreitz. Like you guys know Kreitz. I mean, we live around here.
Elizabeth doesn't because she can't get lost in our neighborhood. But yes, right.
Okay.
But yes, and up north anywhere.
But you're right. Yeah, we've done that before too, where we get up. I'm like, oh God, it's one of these bastards.
Just make it a different color, and if the sign's a different color, then we know what we're getting into. Then it's on us. And sometimes we want to get there anyway. But that is one of – I don't understand why that's still a thing. And it's something we ought to be able to take care of as a civilized society. A huge Gay Sunday.
I agree.
All right. Let's did we get through all these?
I think we did.
Okay. Let's.
I got nothing else.
All right. That was in part to a story almost worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, by the way. A great place for Tuesday trivias and any other occasion. And my favorite beer in the world, the American Stout at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Let's dig into the listener hot takes.
Dominic up first. Dominic's back. Number 1, Couch defeated Dominic, third person, 6-0, 6-3, 6-love, 6-3. My footwork in return game remains Tom Hanks and a Philadelphia AIDS. And yes, that includes bedside Antonio Banderas. 2, dogs are the best. Nothing but love and loyalty. Most people love them, but they're somehow still massively underrated. I agree. 3, wise man once said, if you're lacking confidence, just fucking fake it until you get it back. And bonus, Tigers season wins over, has legs again.
These are good from Dominic. Dominic's an underrated tennis player, by the way. He's got
apparently you are too.
He's got a tricky serve. And
what does that mean?
Serve.
Underhand or
no? It's an overhand serve. It's
what's tricky mean? It's not really great, but once in a while it can bounce a certain way.
No, it moves all over the box, so I never know exactly where it's going to go, and it's tricky to return. And fun,
it's like when people talk about my golf game, like, well, he hits it far. That's all they say. That's what Stout used to say. I heard you hit it far.
Yeah, Dominic's not far away from being a really really good tennis player. A
wise man once said, "Don't talk about unions as well."
Well,
yeah, just saying.
The
in public, at least,
we could talk about them. You want to get into them? Dig in? I got opinions.
Nope.
And they wouldn't be the opinions that everybody thinks I have. That's what's funny about them. Funny
the
about
tease.
It. The tease. Yeah, we're not going to actually do the conversation, but I'm going to tell you that much. All right. The Tigers season wins over has. And Jake, don't worry. It's not that I'm anti. I'm worried Jake Hawkins is listening right now. Like pissed off.
Covering all his bases now.
Yeah, shit. The Tigers season wins over has legs again.
Yeah. Oh please, I hope so.
It does has legs. I mean, having legs. It's back in play. It's not over. But I just don't want the football pulled away from me. They would have to go 33-32 the rrest of the way to hit the over, which they can absolutely do. It's worth watching again. It's worth rooting. And that's all we ask. And they got interesting. They had three great series against good teams, and that's all you can ask is they're competitive again.
All right, Bibby next. Hot take: MSU football will remind fans of Iowa in a lot of ways on both sides. Oh no. Bonus take: Aiden Childs transfers after next year because of it to a bigger brand who is in win now mode. Excuse me.
Here's why I don't think Childs leaves.
He's Jonathan Smith's guy, though, right?
Right. And quarterbacks who are smart, and I think he is a bright kid. I think he's got smart parents and all that stuff. They tend to understand that it doesn't usually help to bounce around. Now, there are guys like Jaden Daniels, left Arizona State, went to LSU, and boom, look where he's drafted. So I'm not saying that it can't work. It often doesn't help you to bounce around if you're trying to get to the next level. And he is the starter at Michigan State. The other thing is MSU has a NIL program that is, I think, will be serviceable in the Big Ten. I do not know its ceiling. I know that can they do $15 million a year if that's what it calls for? It'll be interesting to see what you need for NIL and football once athletes are also being paid, and how much you need to supplement that. Does it still need to be 12, 13, 14, 15 million a year? And it might. And does MSU's donor base and top donors, are they willing to do that? But what they will always be willing to do, and MSU I am confident will always have, is the money to make sure their quarterback is taken care of. So you'd have to wrestle that away. And now I guess there are bidding wars if that's what somebody wanted, but
that's what happened with Jaden Daniels, right? Wasn't he Herman Edwards was like the guy that brought Jaden Daniels in, and then LSU offered him a shit ton of money.
Yeah, but didn't Herm get canned? I mean, shit was
right.
south.
I'm not saying you have to stay loyal to Herm Edwards by any means, but if LSU was going to come in with some heavy money anyway and pluck him away,
sure. Like if Jonathan Smith was fired or something, or things went awry, like that would. But given it'll be year 2, I find that the idea that he would want to be a third-time transfer or second-time transfer, third school, is you're trying to build yourself into an NFL quarterback. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And there's nothing I've seen from him or his family or MSU's NIL situation in bringing him in that suggests that that's likely to happen. But this is a hot take show, so I respect it, baby.
David Jackson next. Izzo needs to tell Desmond Ferguson that MSU players are done with Moneyball as long as CMU players participate. And Jim McElwain hasn't admitted that he conspired with Harbaugh to send Stallions to spy on MSU. Bake take. Graham and Jason need to look at my Tigers question from last week and reconsider my recommendation to bet on the Tigers to make the postseason. 8-2 over the last 10 games means something, damn it. Get on the bandwagon.
To make the postseason. So what are they? Hold on. Let me look. Give me some honk for 1 second. All right. So huge gay Sunday. The Tigers right now are 7 games out of the wild card. That's tough. So the Red Sox 53 and 52. Royals have fallen off a little bit, or 52-45. The easiest thing to do is use the Royals as sort of a barometer, because even though the Royals are just below the line right now, like that's the level you kind of need to get to, and they're 52 and 45. If the thing that gets interesting now is the trade deadline. I think you're still moving on from Flaherty. I think if you can get anything for him, I think you still have to view yourself as a.
But we need him for next year.
I guess they could pick up the
right.
Well, he's a free agent.
Okay, does he want to stay here?
That's a good question.
I mean, ask him.
Okay. You should be the GM of the Tigers. You got all the.
I know.
All the results.
Seems like there's no communication going on.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, no.
We want to trade these guys. We need them for next year.
There is probably value on them to make it right now in terms of betting value. So, and it's not impossible. It would just take something that's a little unlikely. It's been a really good stretch, though. And it's been a stretch that I certainly didn't see coming, where they've actually looked different and played better and hit well and done things that I didn't know they were possible. I mean, some of the numbers on them in terms of number of 1-run and 2-run losses, when they've only scored 1 or 2 runs, I should say, were remarkable.
All of Reese Olson starts.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
And Flaherty's.
To David, to your first part on MSU, Izzo needs to tell Desmond Ferguson that MSU's players are done with Moneyball as long as CMU players.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean the CM. Yeah, it's not going to happen. But I also feel confident saying that the second part of your first take there on McElwain is not correct.
Welcome to the blue wall.
And I'm still okay. I'm hoping to deliver that for people soon, but we should move on. Thanks, David.
Kevin Haas next. The Tigers keeping their top prospects in the same timeline is the best move possible. They're playing competitive baseball this year with a hopeful goal of playoffs next season, and then being able to have top prospects continually being called up while competing. That is the goal.
Yeah, I mean, what they've done is reinvigorated people a little bit, and I think that's healthy. And people were really down, and it feels like something. And this last bit felt like something. The way they've won those 2 late, even the game they lost was exciting, and the series against the Dodgers, the way they took 2 out of 3 is, I mean, the Dodgers were scuffling coming in. To be honest, they had lost 4 straight coming into that series, but they were beat up themselves. And I think had 2 healthy starting pitchers, so it wasn't like they beat the Dodgers at their peak, but they still beat a hell of a lineup. Yeah.
Hey, every win counts, man.
Absolutely.
It's tough to win in baseball. Am I right? JD. The Lions will win the Super Bowl and the Tigers will win the World Series in 2025, forcing society to collapse in on itself by 2026. I'll take that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm in. Bonus. Graham, why from this account did you then unlike my tweet saying this show would be an all-timer? Afraid to live up to the hype.
I remember liking it. I don't remember unliking it. I do.
Were you hammered?
No, I just have.
out there. Yeah, I need to go back and unlike some people.
I do a lot.
App.
I do a lot of things with these fat thumbs, and
dude, I unfollowed you.
Yeah,
not not this weekend. Like I don't know, a year ago.
I'm sometimes scrolling and I hit things, and I certainly did not mean that. Yeah, it happens. I remember liking the tweet. I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I do not remember JD. I very much apologize.
You usually don't when you're hammered. Suburban Spartan Dad next. Hot take. Holloman is the starting point guard for opening night of the season. He and Fears will split minutes, but Izzo will defer to the older, more seasoned player. And bonus. Thanks for sharing the David Frum piece, Graham. Best summary of the bleak spot we're in after this weekend.
Yeah, that's the tweet that people didn't love. David Frum piece from the Atlantic. You
retweeted a Frum piece.
A Frum piece.
Unbelievable.
Stay away from them Frum pieces. It's like the Liz Frank of foot.
Some would say both are ass.
Yeah. To the first point though on Holloman is the starting point guard to open the season. I think Fears. This is going to be really interesting to see because I think Holloman is a leader and is a presence on the team. Is at a pretty substantial place. I think he's a really good player. I think their hope still probably is Fears has a little higher ceiling, maybe as a point guard, but Holloman will work himself into being the best player he can be. And but those conversations about Holloman, are you comfortable being that six-man first guy off the bench? First guard off the bench still and playing a huge role. Will he be in closing lineups, and does that mean – what does that – I mean, you can just look at the numbers right now and know there are going to be some interesting conversations, and a lot of this may sort itself out. If Fears is not the player that they need him to be, then it's Holloman. But if Fears is pretty good and they're going on that Spain trip and Fears is supposed to be playing in that trip and they'll get a good feel for all this stuff. And you want Holloman on the court late in games. You want Akins on the court late in games. You want Fiddler on the court late in games. You see how I get to the idea of Xavier Booker playing center.
All right, Kurt Wisniewski. Playing 6 rounds of Northern Michigan golf in 4 days isn't good for the body at over 50 years old. Jesus. Bonus, Michigan State football will shock the college football playoff and make the last spot in 2024.
Would be a shock. So you're looking at a 10-2 season.
I could see that going either way.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that one. But hot takes, and it would be a shock.
I was more shocked that you can golf that many rounds of golf in 4 days, dude? I don't know. You're in good shape.
4 days. It's not 6 rounds.
I know. I don't have it in me.
Are these 18-hole rounds? You think he means?
No, he's talking about 9-hole. People play 9 holes usually. Yes, he's talking about 18. He said a round. A round isn't 9.
I can't even do 18 in a day. I get to I get to the 11th hole, 12th hole, and I'm like, I'm kind of.
Well, who are you playing with?
Just
you need to play like a scramble format or best ball or
that's
something.
Better.
That's what we do.
That's better. Yeah.
We're out there to have fun. I'm not getting my PGA Tour card. I'm never gonna be a scratch golfer. I go out to have fun. And golfing 6 rounds in 4 days doesn't sound like it.
To me, it really comes down to what sort of substances I'm putting in my body on the front 9.
Keith Richards over here. Listen to this guy. I just do edibles. Yeah, it depends on what kind of substances. Like he's doing heroin at the turn or something.
To the idea of Michigan State football shocking people to take the last spot in the playoff, I think 10 wins is what it'll take. And so you have to think they're probably losing Ohio State, probably losing at Oregon. That's winning every other game. So just put that on your radar. If you win every other game, it's possible 9-3 with the right situations could break for teams, but that sort of puts it in perspective how difficult it would be.
Professor next. Ice cream Snickers bars are the best thing you can get from the ice cream man. Elite summer food. They are like the Twix. They have them at rest stops now.
Oh, yeah.
Which shocks me.
Just now?
I don't know. I didn't know. Really?
Oh, yeah.
They have the Twix ones, and I'm like, of course, you have to snag one.
So sometimes I like to have an ice cream Snickers with coffee because it makes the coffee even better.
Your passion is really creepy, though.
Right. No,
how excited you are.
Same with donut. Like
in your voice, it's like
one of my. Groovy donuts are next level.
Yes.
But I will even have like a gas station Speedway day-old donut
Ooh, that's fat shit right
just
there.
because it makes
That's
the coffee better. But it's not as good as you're right. You're right on the ice cream Snickers.
So
ones.
you would have a Snickers and a coffee?
Yeah.
Like an ice cream one?
Ice cream one. Oh, it's so good.
Damn.
Oh, it's the best thing to drive. I got like ice. You don't even
What a
look at
scene,
me
dude.
Driving down the road in my rental car,
You need tinted windows.
coming back from like Champaign, Illinois. Just it's a beautiful sight.
Gross. Captain Dumbfuck next. This year's MSU basketball and MSU football team would beat last year's version of them. That alone gives me hope.
That is true. I mean, it's sort of, speaking of ice cream, right? So ice cream, if you talk to somebody who sells ice cream for a living, they will tell you that it doesn't matter how warm or cold it is outside. The ice cream matters. Obviously, you got to keep it frozen.
Yeah.
But it matters what it was yesterday. So if it was 50 degrees yesterday and it's 60 degrees today, they're going to sell a lot of ice cream. If it was 80 yesterday and then it's 65, they're not going to sell a lot of ice cream. And it's all relative. Even in the winter, they sell okay amounts of ice cream if it's warmer than the day before. And so this is the MSU basketball and football comparison is relative to last year's frustration. And I think how bad the football team was and then how frustrating at times the basketball team was. This year's teams will both be easier watches and more enjoyable.
No matter the weather, though, fat people like ice cream. So no matter whatever temperature it is,
I'm
going to buy it. You got those people. Kevin from Rochester Hills, Colt Keith is a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Love it.
Bonus. An old and injured Messi is still better than any player on the U.S. men's national team.
Well, he doesn't run, and he hasn't run for a while. Like he doesn't. You can only have Messi as a functional player on your team if you have the right type of people around him, and Argentina does.
Aren't the opponents not scared of him, but like in awe of him, like Jordan?
There is unbelievable respect. Yeah. But it's like Jordan.
Like when he was doing the MLS thing, like guys were not even like covering him.
He's kind of like Jordan first-year Wizards right now.
Wow,
that's who he is, and still a really good player. Still has a touch and a there's probably a little more LeBron to him late. You know what I mean? Late stage LeBron here, where he's not quite the dominant player. More late. I'd say more early Wizards.
Shit, Wizards. MJ had 20.
Yeah. Early Wizards.
5,
MJ. So
whatever.
Still fantastic player.
The ball hog and didn't win games, but
that
was fun to see MJ.
You can't build your team around Messi anymore. So I don't know if he would work as well for the U.S. national team, other than he does. I mean, there are certain things he does that are still next
and
level.
Don't say I don't talk soccer. Listen,
that was incredible. That was really well done.
That and Young Boys of Atlanta. It's the two things I know.
Absolutely.
Trees next. Bally's might want to up their non-Tigers programming. People aren't paying $20 a month for blitz ball. Bonus. Abraham Lincoln had male lovers.
I didn't know
She was
that.
fascinated by that.
I didn't know that.
I walked in the house. All I heard was Abraham Lincoln was gay. That's all I heard.
What, you're watching a documentary, reading a book?
No. She was on her phone.
No.
Saw a story, and I'm like, why would it come out all this time later that Abraham Lincoln was gay or had male lovers?
Well, they didn't
have
Twitter in 1863.
Did they? Well, we had it 20 years ago or whatever, 15 years ago or something. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Why are we hearing it in 2024?
Therese is dead on Bally's as an overall channel. Like,
well, I told her
no reason to go there.
Blitzball, which is some form of like wiffle ball, but they're there to air sports, right? And everything else that's on the programming is just filler. They don't really give a shit about it.
Yeah,
they make their money off sport. Well, if they make money,
and they're bankrupt at this point, so it's not like they can go. If Bally's was smart, they'd go get like I don't know, Jim Rome. Do people still watch him? You know what I mean? Like something to fill midday. That
but
people
you have
want
to pay
see.
Jim Rome big money still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to do that.
No.
Right.
How about you give it away for $8.99 a month?
We would do this show live on Bally's, by the way, for less than we would not.
I would just talk shit about Illich the whole show.
Well, we would be kicked off, but we would do it for a couple days.
All right, Ethan Douglas next. The first round of college football playoff games will be moved to neutral sites within 3 years after SEC fans cry about having to play in a snow game versus a Big Ten team. And bonus, Oregon will be the next victim of losing randomly as a top 5 team at Purdue.
It'd be interesting watching Oregon.
That's true. They have no idea about the tough road game.
Yeah,
the Big Ten.
That random night road game or random game that bites you when you're coming east. It's going to hit Oregon at some point this year, I think.
Go into Kenneck and only score 8 points.
They come east 3 times, so we'll see how much. I really hope that this isn't the case with Ethan saying, but he's probably right that college football games are going to be moved to neutral sites. The college football playoff games. Yep. One of the best things about that opening round is that they're going to be on campus sites. The idea that somebody's got to go to Ohio State in November. you get to host a game. And it's so logical and it's so awesome. The reason we know they'll screw it up is they're freaking tinkering with the NCAA tournament in basketball, which doesn't need tinkering. Like, these are not bright people. And if they're greedy, and if they see a path for more money or whatever, or their something that helps their own self-interest, but overall, they're not. There are a lot of people in major college sports decision-making right now at the top that we could do without, period. Like, I'm not saying, like, violently remove them. I'm saying, like, we could just – they need to retire, move on. Greg Sankey, don't need him. I get the SEC wants him. The world is better off without him in that role. Retire him. Not sure I'm a huge fan of Petitti, the new Big Ten commissioner. We'll see where all this goes, but I have zero faith in most of these people.
So you don't like Petitti right now? You haven't talked to him? He hasn't looked through you?
I don't dislike him personally.
So he has a lot to do to impress you.
There are things that I have read about things. I am suspect about the direction of things under him to some degree. Yeah.
All right. Ghost of George Perlis reports on Jeremy Fear's recovery will remain absent. We will get Moneyball and fluff pieces on other players once football starts. It will quietly come out that he won't be ready for a long time. Bonus, Connor Stallions will remain a mystery and soon become folklore, like Max Bulla and Bake Take. We need a role reverse show where Couch reads the takes and Jason gives us his responses. Also, why not just feed the tuna fish mayonnaise? Save a lot of time.
That's a good point.
Mayonnaise.
We can do another. We did that once, and was it it wasn't a hot take. It was a question show, right? So
yeah. But they were geared towards me. But I mean, honestly, any of these questions, if I have an answer for, we both.
We can. I think it probably works better on the Twitter question show than the.
I love it because I get to sit back. I don't have to sit there and read and focus. And
yeah, we'll do another reverse show maybe this month.
Have Treese drive me. I'll get high.
It's a good month for that. To the Jeremy Fears point, this trip to Spain, he's played twice in Moneyball now too, and so he's scored 20 points, and he's playing. He's not like they're hiding him. And I
stay away, Liz.
I have not been there when he's been there.
Get out of here.
And they're going this Spain trip, which I think this is a really good team for that because it's going to help them sort out some roles, and guys will start to realize where they are relative to each other, and also it'll be good for Jeremy Fears because he'll be playing against professionals overseas, and they'll have a good feel for what he's going to bring them. But they're seeing him every day in practice. It's not like he's not going to be. If something else could happen that could set him back, but there's zero evidence right now that and I think it's pretty much out there that I think he's ready.
C-Dubs 91 hot take. This Stallion story you have should be held until the Sunday before Michigan hosts Texas to create media chaos. Related take. No one will actually care about the story because nothing will be done to Michigan. Time to move on and never schedule CMU again in a revenue sport.
Yeah, we're not holding anything. It's just a matter of God.
Not that big of a story, right? Is that what everybody's claiming?
There's some interesting stuff there. There's interesting stuff there. I can't.
Okay.
There are going to be some discussions with editors and stuff. Sometimes responsible journalism sucks. I'll put it that way. You know what I mean? Like, let me just put it that way.
I have to clip that. Bo McJunkins. Now that Graham said it's known what happened with Stallions, and it just needs to get to the point where it can be told. It'll be a big nothing, and the university won't be held accountable yet again by anyone other than the person who did the story. And bonus, it was rich hearing John Jansen talk down about the Mike Gundy and Ollie Gordon situation, and there being no punishment. This guy being an alumni of a school who let Mozzie Smith play the same day of a gun charge.
What did you think of Mike Gundy? And did you see this speech?
I heard it.
So people don't know. Ollie Gordon of Oklahoma State had a DUI, and Mike Gundy, rather than suspending him, brought him to media day and just basically said, asked him if he wanted to go, but said, you're going to have to answer to all of it.
And John Jansen, maybe he doesn't like the way things are handled at Michigan. What can he do about it? Is he going to go on 97.1 and shit on him? I
didn't hear Jansen's response.
I didn't either. I did not either. But I heard Mike Gundy, and he was basically implying we all drive drunk here.
Yeah,
it brought me back to my days of. So Mike Gundy and I speak the same language, except for having a mullet as a haircut, though. Like I know what he was saying, but it isn't the place to say it. Because I've said some shit like that, like at an in-laws kind of event or something. I'm kind of like, why did I say that? So I think Mike Gundy means well. I just think that, sometimes he's a little bit of a rube.
Yeah, the tone was not – it's a great way of putting it. Because it wasn't – that was what came off, the idea that, I check myself in glass houses basically, and I've done it before. And don't
Mike,
do it.
It's not about you. We're idiots, and we drive drunk.
And it's fair to say that, I look at myself and I think, boy, I've been lucky a few times, and that's ridiculous. And I should –
and that's Graham Couch.
But no, I'm talking about Mike Gundy.
Oh, I thought you said you had a couple beers.
Check that.
Oh, sorry.
No, did not.
I thought you were a man of the people for a second. My bad. Graham is not driven drunk.
But I do think that the dumbest part of the thing Mike Gundy said was, will he be suspended? He goes, well, what does suspending him for one game do anyway? We didn't play him last year till game 4. Like, that was like, well, you know what?
That's
it sends a message of accountability.
Right. But I know, but he's an idiot. I mean, we have to make a big, I know Wetzel, I listened to his podcast. They were, all three of those guys were talking about it, and I understand. But they even said, God, that's Mike Gundy. He says this stuff all the time. Yeah, and I'm not saying that suspending him has to be the answer. I'm just saying, like, there's, but I can tell you why suspending him makes sense. But you know how bad media days are. I would rather, to be honest, almost be on probation than rather have to sit in front of all those people and answer questions. That's kind of a punishment in a way. That guy doesn't want to. Ollie Gordon doesn't want to be there.
Look, getting out in front of a story is smart. Izzo does this really well. He did it with Derek Nix, obviously. He did it when Brandon Dawson threw Adrian Payne through a wall at a hotel at Penn State. He sat him down a lot of schools don't do that. And one-day stories become two-day stories. And
that's the worst thing you can do.
But Izzo has made mistakes with it before, too. And I'll give you an example of one I didn't like. It was somebody got a DUI. Alvin Ellis got an MIP, which people know it's like a minor in possession, right?
I know well.
And somebody else on the team got a DUI. Aaron Harris got a DUI. And he brought them both out and basically said have at them. But he treated them like they were the same thing, and that bothered me a little bit. So one of the things is, like, an MIP is not a DUI. An MIP is hurting nobody. It's a minor in possession. On a college campus, you could hand out MIPs like,
I had 4 of them. Should have been 5.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? I even there was a column I tried to do at the time to just show how ridiculous. But anyway, I didn't pull it off. I thought about offering to buy Alvin Ellis's beer next time or whatever it was. Just so, like, this is ridiculous. Like, this should not be in the same boat. A DUI is something that can be very serious and very costly and deadly and should be taken seriously.
And there's Uber now.
There's zero excuses for him either. Yeah, I mean, not that there ever was a great excuse, but I'm saying there's even less of an excuse now.
Well, not an excuse, but it was like you had to get home from a certain spot. You couldn't sleep on the street,
right?
So you had to try to get home. Yes, it's irresponsible and all that shit. But before Uber, kind of had to drive when you didn't want to, or
you didn't have
big
to.
Dumb. I understand. I'm just being honest.
Okay.
Listen, I can't believe I never got a DUI. It's amazing to me. Should be written about. Some dude, my entire assessment about where the country is relative to these politics is going to be completely based on the episode of Couch in the Rube.
Ew.
I feel the contributorship of the show is a perfect cross-section of the country, at least my preferred exposure to the country. Weird that all of these politics are going, and perhaps this was done by a poor guy that was bullied. Bonus. The Tigers need to at least try to take advantage of the streak and get a bat or two. Show they care.
So I do take my cues from, we take our cues from you a lot on this show, and there were not a lot. If like all anybody wanted to talk about today was the shooting in Butler, PA, and Chris Solari actually wrote a pretty good column today on Butler because he grew up in Butler, and you can read that on our site or the Detroit Free Press site. Then we would have got into it a little bit more, but people want an escape here, so we're gonna keep it that.
Well, what's there to talk about?
Well, there's lots of stuff to talk about. Jason, there's tons of stuff we could talk about. Just not what we are. We could do a separate.
It's like Keith Olbermann. It's like, God, that looks exthing.
Yeah.
Why don't you just search baseball cards on eBay?
Well,
that's more fun.
There's certain people who've lost all credibility by just taking things a little too far.
Jeez, breathe a little bit.
So yeah, I don't know if this is going to be the place where you get.
I'm not scared of it. It's just boring.
Yeah, but we are a cross section. I love that we have people from all sorts of walks of life and political views on this show. Tigers, I don't know if this is enough to, but that would be great. I don't know if it's enough to really go out and do a lot, but it would be great if they just showed a little good faith. Like I've said before, Tarek Skubal, lock up Riley Green, do something that shows, or just have a press conference that says, we're kind of getting a feel for things on where certain guys are. We're starting to put together a plan. We're going to try and lock up some of our own guys, and we're going to spend this offseason on guys that we feel can help this. We're going to try to really bolster this line. That would do it. You just got to, give us something.
Where's the owner?
Give us something.
All right. Travis Maynard retweeting a story about a would-be dictator. A day removed from an assassination attempt is crazy work, Graham. The undertones of justification is wild. I'm no fan of Trump, but that's the same media fear-mongering rhetoric that drive these people to violence. God bless. And bonus, now back to sports. Folks underestimate just how MSU basketball's lack of size at the 2, 3, and even the 4 hurt us last year. The rebounding and defensive length alone this year will make up for Hall and Tyson's offensive production. Rebounds from those spots should all be way up.
Yeah, I do think there's something to this. I mean, you think about the 2, 3, and 4. The 2 was Tyson Walker, who's barely 6 foot, and now it's going to be a 6'3", 6'4", Jaden Akins starting. The 3 was Akins, and so now it's Frankie Fiddler, who's 6'7". So you pick up 3 to 4 inches at the 2. You pick up 3 to 4 inches at the 3. And then you go from 6'8" to 6'11" at the 4. So you pick up 3 inches. You're getting a lot longer. And now I don't think rebounding is, to this point, is not shown to be the strength of a guy like Xavier Booker. And that is one concern and something he's going to have to show. But I do think Jaden Akins will be a better rebounder from the guard position. I think Frankie Fiddler will be a decent rebounder. And that's something that's huge for this team, becoming a good rebounding team. And Eric Schultz is often pointed out on this show that, all of Izzo's best teams, and he's not wrong, were at a certain level of quality and rebounding, and they haven't been the last 4 years. And so, to some degree, it's that simple. It starts there.
Skylar Verdon next. Nothing will test a relationship more than searching for parking with your significant other in the car. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's gift card worthy.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the most frustrating situation.
I love my wife, but I do it to her. I feel like if I'm not in the car, she can park fine because I was in a car accident. So if I'm in the passenger seat, I'm overly,
so
attentive.
She's driving,
I'm kind of annoying.
Okay.
But we go into a parking lot and she'll last second go pick another spot. So she's going towards one and then pulls to the next one. And I'm in my mind, but I try to be like, just to not say anything, but I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, and so is Teresa, when you guys are out and about, is she the usual driver, or is it
No,
you?
I drive. I like to drive here and there. Depends.
Okay. Yeah, my wife likes to drive too. She's an angry driver though. It's like, I mean, I put AirPods on and I watch
like road rage,
soccer or something. No, she doesn't take it that far, but she gets annoyed with people really easily on the road, like in ways that she doesn't in real life. Like it's not my favorite side of her. Like I love my wife, but I would not have married her if she was like she is as a driver all the time, every day. Like that would not be cool. That would not,
because I'm the same way, and I'm trying to get better about it.
That would not be cool. And
I hate people driving, especially old people.
She thinks I'm not a great driver, and I think I'm a fabulous driver.
Are you bad?
I'm a great driver.
What makes you bad?
I mean, no.
You slow?
No.
Drive slow?
No, she just thinks I'm not steady behind the wheel. Like I don't know. I think I'm a great driver.
Dude, this is the best story of the day.
I can parallel park fast. I'm a great driver. By the way, that is a story almost worth telling, presented by our friends in Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Continuing their themed trivia this week, Star Wars trivia. And it's actually this is the next one. Sorry, it's Thursday trivia. July 25th, Star Wars trivia. I apologize. Usually it's Tuesday. So Thursday, July 25th, Star Wars trivia at Midtown Brewing Company. Little special Thursday trivia. Starts at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. You can find out more at Midtown Brewing Company on Facebook. Great way to stay up to date with them. Great way to, they just did the Marvel Comics one. Star Wars coming up on a Thursday, July 25th. at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown.
While
Lansing.
we're doing live reads, can we promote something for Wednesday's show?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Wednesday's show, we are going to do a fun topic during the show, most hated athletes of our lifetimes.
Yep.
And we're going to bring you guys into it. So if just start thinking about that. We'll put something on Twitter, and you can always respond on the YouTube channel as well. Like
top 3 if you have 5. I know Javi Baez will be in everyone, so
and like
you can have a couple more if you need be.
And we
have
probably
a lot more.
We probably won't get into all of them, but we might probably get into all of them. We'll get all of them. But and the reasons why, like they can be unreasonable. Like I mean, I have I'll give you an example. And now I'm forgetting his name, so this is really bad example. But played on the Tigers like 06 team that was really good.
Guillermo Hernandez.
No, hold on. Fuck, give me some off.
Wow. Willie Hernandez?
2006.
Craig Monroe.
Son of a fuck.
Where is Simo? We're not going to talk about that either?
Yeah.
Illich loves to hide shit, man.
Omar Infante.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Thank God.
So, yeah, I mean, Omar Infante. Like, it's somewhat irrational. The guy, you
gotta
know,
let that one go.
The guy batted 277. I never saw a single hit. I mean, that motherfucker had 62 hits. I didn't see one of them. Always hated it. I mean, every time they needed a hit, never got a hit.
Oh.
Now he'd like lead the team in batting average if he was.
Screw that up.
Yeah, it's all right.
Jesus.
All right, next one.
Sorry. Rich Kane, I am so sick of people attacking the media. How the hell do they think they get any information that isn't team player or agent propaganda? If it weren't for the media, this society would be a lot less free and interesting. Related, Graham, is there a TV job you would drop everything for if they offered it to you? Or do you have an idea for a TV concept you would do besides this marvelous podcast? And Bake Take, Frankie Fiddler will have a bigger impact on MSU than Dalton Knecht had for Tennessee last year. I hope that's right.
It's Bake Take.
Frankie Fiddler, baby.
Yeah. To the question, is there a TV job that I would drop everything to do if it was offered? Yeah, I mean there are lots of
some on C-SPAN.
No, I mean most acting gigs. I'd go out and I'd be in the next Netflix series or something like that. Right? Is it?
Well, if we're just not going to be serious anymore,
pudgy journalist. I could play the pudgy journalist. I know. I know what you mean, though. Is there a TV job I would drop everything for? Yeah, I mean, a really good interview show I would love to do. That's my favorite part of. I mean, I.
What motivates you?
Yeah, no, a really good like.
Where do you get your ideas?
A really good like sit down interview show.
Dude, let's do it here.
We
got cameras. Yeah, who do you want to
do the platform? Yeah, that would be the thing that. But
I'm here for it.
Yeah, is there a concept? I hadn't really thought this through. But what I love about the interview show, and I think we lose Charlie Rose, for example, and Charlie Rose had to go away for good reason. Sounds like he was kind of a disgusting man in certain ways, but he had a hell of a show, and we're not a better society for having lost it. And those sort of long form shows I really enjoy, and they still exist, but not every night out there. So that's pretty boring. Like the PBS nightly Charlie Rose show is what I would. I would do Survivor if I had a concept that I would put.
Let's get you a tape.
Produce? No. A real Survivor. The way I thought Survivor was going to be when it debuted 23 years ago. That people actually instead it became this thing where you had to become friends and allies and you voted people off the island. I thought it was going to be like, holy shit, I can't do this anymore. You basically raise your hand and say, get me out of here before I die. That's what I thought Survivor was going to be. I want to see that show. And I know those sort of shows exist, but that should have been the original Survivor. I think would have been successful instead of the failed actual show that only lasted one season.
Matt C. Next. My take is July sports takes are tough. Please end the summer. Bonus, MSU football coaches under Mel Tucker had a -3 WAR, to borrow a baseball stat. Where do you find that stat?
Yeah, that's a good
the
stat.
Coaches, huh?
Yeah. It was
or is that Matt C? He's coming up with a -3.
I was thinking about when I was talking to Dominic this weekend. I was talking about the Miami game he was at in 2001, and you think about how competent they looked back then. They basically the idea the quote from Mel Tucker after that we took them into the deep water and basically they looked more conditioned. They looked like the better team in the fourth quarter. It looked like he had this nutrition staff that was he just looked like they had it together. And Jay Johnson looked like somebody people really. I mean, if you go back and see the comments about Jay Johnson after that game, people were all in on Jay Johnson. Even the defense was so good at the bend but don't break. Like they picked their spots, and they didn't have the most talent in the world. And it is just amazing how far things fell from that moment. Maybe 4 or 5 weeks later, and they beat Michigan. Just how competent things looked. And I guess Kenneth Walker helps all of that. But it is remarkable. I don't think every coach on that staff was a bad staff. I think things just spiraled, and they couldn't make chicken salad.
Peasy next. Yes, this Copa America American final situation is extremely unsafe, and more importantly, it's very funny. I'm typing this before halftime, so if anything happens, I have the right to recant. And bonus, the Tigers? Question mark? Actually, a lot of question marks.
Yeah, it's.
Let's just enjoy the All-Star break.
Yeah. It's not. It is. It's a good way to get in there. The Copa American situation is incredibly unsafe, and I'm not even sure they should have played the game. I mean, I think that they got lucky is what happened, because you think about it, they basically gave up on security, and they just let everybody into the stadium, and then more so. I mean, I'm not sure.
But what do you do at a certain point where you're overwhelmed and overmatched?
That's a great question. They were in a tough spot because they screwed up.
I guess we let everybody in then, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Joe Hyam Smith. Great sports weekend. The Sunday slate was special with Wimbledon, Scottish Open, Tigers, Euro, small break for shows to keep the wife happy, and then Copa. Looking forward to the British Open, and we'll have the training camp, Olympics, and football season is pretty much here. Hell yeah.
I mean,
That's the pep talk I need right there.
Unbelievable weekend. They have Wimbledon in the morning, the Euros in the afternoon, Copa at night. Tigers have a walk-off. Like, it was a great weekend. The British Open is I'm pumped for. That's this week, right? We're on the British Open.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a nice, because this is sort of a,
Can have Harry on, and
I mean, this is gonna be this will be I like the British Open, and I like Jason disagrees with this, but I like getting up early for golf. I think that's kind
like
of fun.
how early though? Like, I got up for the Ryder Cup, and it was insanity. I was up at 5 a.m.
Well, I'll get up at
before
7.
birds.
I'm not going to see it all, but I'll get up at 7 and start watching.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Right. Nestle's Quick Hotel. I'm up watching soccer. This is watching fucking paint dry. If anything, it helps me get to sleep. Take out the crowds, misguided, passion, and the announcers nutting at literally anything. What is so entertaining about this?
Okay, a couple things.
But you had to watch a game to figure that out, though?
If you just tuned in, first of all, it was entertaining if you'd watched
the end.
No, because it wasn't good soccer at the end. They were exhausted. It was physical. There was a lot of passion. They played the last 15 minutes of regular time, and then the 30 minutes added time were just exhausted men out on the pitch. Just it wasn't good soccer, but it was a lot at stake and interesting. And yeah, you're right. Now, if you watched the Euros, like if you watched England, Spain, there was some really good soccer in that game. If you watch Spain all the way through, you can pick the wrong game, and that's what I always fear when I'm trying to introduce people to soccer, picking the wrong game. And the Copa America, in many ways, most of those, Brazil, Colombia, though, would have been a great one to watch. There are some within, like, I tell you what, you and I will get together. I will let you know when it's a game I think you ought to watch. Because
are you inviting him over? Nestle's Quick Hotel?
I mean, he can come over if he wants, but like, I would just to just let him know, hey, this one's going to be a good one. Like in the Premier League, we get to the Premier League games. This is one you might want to watch.
Nestle's, can you take him up on that? Like, go over there. Come on. Varsity Softball Dad, you may not be incorrect about Americans and their inorganic love of English sides, but being an Aston Villa fan paid off last night. In spite of your insistence that Colombia was the move, I won on my Argentina futures bet because of the greatest keeper on the planet. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you won.
Yeah, the greatest keeper on is Aston. The Argentina's keeper is from Aston Villa, and he is amazing. He's unbelievable keeper.
Top 5 goalkeepers. Go.
I don't have that.
All right.
But Colombia, I think, was the best team throughout the tournament. They might have been a little more worn down just because they had a tougher road there. But I stick by that.
Munfield Keg. Cole Palmer should have started or at least been on at halftime of the England game. Also, don't worry, Rube. You don't have to read the name Phil Foden for another 2 years. Phil Foden.
Yeah. Palmer's good. Yeah, Harry Kane, overrated. Overrated. I think that much is clear.
Wow. Tyler, Copa final interrupted by a suburban weather alert for a county I'm not in. I'd rather shit in the car on that bridge. I still need more details. Where did you drop the loaf, or who did it?
It wasn't Tyler.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
Where did they go?
Yeah, right.
In a cooler?
Yeah.
Ziploc? Hans Jurgen, number 1, has Harry Kane made his last international appearance? 2, the Copa America start time was organized by as the Couch and the Rubes. 3, why is the USA men's team always ranked so high in the FIFA rankings? Currently 11. Like Graham, they never win anything. Bonus. Living in the past causes depression. Living in the future causes anxiety. Therefore, live in the present. Try live betting if you have to.
I don't know if live betting is the best way to live in the present. I mean, it's exhilarating, but it can also lead to the both anxiety and depression. So I would just put that out there.
Jake Hawkins, number 1. So with the Irish pub opening back up, this is where I wish I had FU money on hand, because I would buy up the former Green Dot Stables, renovate it, and bring back the Whiskey Barrel Saloon. Lansing needs a good country western style bar. 2, started the new Netflix series Receiver. Absolutely love it, especially since it features Amon-Ra St. Brown from our beloved Detroit Lions. Next series they got to make it about offensive linemen. And 3, my final predictions for MSU football, most likely 6-6, 7-5, possibly 8-4, maybe, just maybe, 9-3 or 10-2.
Graham Stout.
That's the ultimate. Yeah. I love you, Hawk, but that is the ultimate Graham Stout. On another note, even with the new NCAA college football video game coming out this week, I haven't been anxious to reserve a copy or buy one, and wondering if I should. You shouldn't.
No,
if you're not excited about it. I mean,
yeah. It depends. If you're a video game guy, for me, I have no desire to get into it. It's just
okay.
not my thing. It's not my thing. Yeah. So that's fine.
We played the old one back in the day, like for days and days on end.
Yeah, I mean, I
had a game night once a week on Wednesdays. It was fun.
I used to love Tecmo Bowl too. Man, Super Tecmo Bowl.
So old. All right, and finally, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Number 1, Jonathan Smith seems to have the blue-collar coaching ethic that can be a success at Michigan State. 2, people need to get off social media and appreciate more? Appreciate. A-P-R-I-C-A-T. Appreciate.
Don't be porn.
3, if that's porn, that's impressive. 3, the
sunbathe or bask in the sun. Interesting.
That's true.
Yeah.
The sinking of the Titanic must have been a miracle to the lobsters in the kitchen. All right.
What a line.
That's good.
Good ending. Good ending. Well done. We appreciate all of you guys for helping us get through July. And we hope we're doing the same for you. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company. Go to midtownbrewing.net or check them out on Facebook, or just swing on by 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. Outstanding patio, great drink selections, terrific menu, great date place. We appreciate Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, where cannabis meets community. They care about us. They care about you. They want to help you get through this show. And so they have sponsored us, and we are indebted to them for it. Go to pureoptions.com for the location nearest you and specials, and sign up for their loyalty program. It is very much worth it. We'll be back middle of the week. We'll tweet out something looking for the athletes you have hated most throughout your entire life. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.